You're drafting at the end of the first round. You're on the clock. You're trying to decide between Nico Collins, Puka Nacua, and Malik Nabers. You have your mind set on a wide receiver. This is one of the most important decisions you're going to make in fantasy football. This is the difference between maybe getting that top 3 guy and maybe a dude that falls outside of the top 10. I was in this exact same situation last weekend. I was stun locked. I was alone. My teammates were just grinning like hyenas waiting for me to pick. They were going to call my pick bad regardless. So let's rank these dudes. Let's try to be data driven. Let's try to use some statistics to help us. We're going to talk about pros and cons, final rankings for half and full point PPR. I'm Ron from Never Lucky. We know ball, we just have zero luck here. Let's get into this video. We're going to start from the top. Now let's talk about Nico Collins. 2024 is essentially a tale of two halves. Before week 5, when he got injured, he was like the wide receiver 1 in fantasy football. He ended up finishing as wide receiver 6 in points per game, 14.9, even though he missed those games. He really wasn't the same after the injury, though. He wasn't getting the same volume. He wasn't he never scored over 18 fantasy points. He was kind of just like barely usable the rest of the season. But before the injury, he was wide receiver 1 in fantasy football, 21.3 PPR points per game. That pace was 96 receptions, 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns. Would have been wide receiver 4. Shout out to Jamar Chase, man. I don't think anyone was going to beat that season, but he is the 3rd graded wide receiver against man coverage. He's very good. He reminds me a lot of AJ Brown. He reminds me a lot of Julio Jones, if you guys remember him. Absolute beast, dude. Contested catch getter. The thing about the Texans, man, the reason that I'm excited about Nico Collins is that the Texans' offensive line is projected to be very bad. They should be improved in last season, but they're still projected to be like the 32nd, 31st ranked offensive line. They're going to be passing the ball a lot, man. They fired their offensive coordinator. They brought in a new dude because they want to be more pass heavy. And I think Nico Collins is set up for success, man. He's got some decent options around him. You know, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. They still have Christian Kirk there, but I think it's going to be the Nico Collins show. He's going to be the absolute dominant alpha receiver. He's a massive red zone guy. The cons with Nico Collins is that there are some other dudes on this team now, right? Jaden Higgins is now there. They're very excited about him. He's like a big slot wide receiver. Jalen Noel, a very speedy Josh Downs type wide receiver. And then Christian Kirk is still around there, coming off of a bad injury, but you know, he can potentially poach some work. That's Nico Collins. We're going to now move over to Puka Nacua. 18.8 points per game in PPR since 2023. Dude has been phenomenal. Ever since he's been in the league, he's been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, last season, he was so good that they essentially just told Cooper Kupp, bro, your time here is done. You're going to be blocking. You're now a tight end. And then fuck off, dude. Once the season ended, they shipped his ass out. So Puka Nacua is the cornerstone of this team. Obviously, they bring in Devonta Adams, so that's kind of like the con. That's the concern that super, wide receiver 1 upside type ceiling might not be there. But I still like Puka Nacua. From weeks 8 to 18, which is kind of after he came back from injury last year, he only trailed Jamar Chase in points, in fantasy points. So he was a beast, absolutely incredible. 9th in red zone targets, 31% target share, as you guys see here, 37% targets per out run. That's an insane stat, dude. There's nobody that's even like above 32% in the NFL. 3.23 yards per out run, which is a metric that, we love when it comes to efficiency metrics for players. He blows everyone out of the water. So statistically, all the advanced stats, Puka Nacua seems to be like the best value in fantasy football, right? But then we have the Matt Stafford back injury. We have the fact that Puka Nacua is a very physical wide receiver. He absorbs a lot of big hits. He takes a lot of contact. So the dude has just a type of play style that's maybe liable to getting injured a little bit more than usual. So that's Puka Nacua. We're now going to move to Malik Nabers. Malik Nabers was historic in his rookie season. He obviously broke a bunch of records. Wide receiver 7 overall and in points per game. He set the rookie reception record, 109 catches in only 15 games, bro. Absolutely insane. He topped 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. And keep in mind, Malik Nabers has done this with essentially no quarterback. He had like Tommy DeVito, some random dude named Muhammad, fucking long neck ass Daniel Jones throwing him the ball last year. Bro, very small side note. Some dude with the Dallas Cowboys avatar in my comments section the other day was saying that George Pickens is 3 times the wide receiver DK Metcalf is. And I'm like, bro, explain why. Explain why without using your opinion. Because George Pickens has done fuck all in his career. And DK Metcalf has been like a top 15 guy every season since he's come in the NFL with all types of quarterbacks. So, without using your opinion, George Pickens hasn't done shit. Like, there are other wide receivers like Malik Nabers who have produced without having a quarterback. So what's the fucking excuse, man? Like, I don't know. It's a small tangent. Sorry about that. But anyway, Malik Nabers is absolutely phenomenal. We now get an improvement in 2025. We get Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Jackson Dart, all dudes that are an improvement on last season. So if he was wide receiver 7 in points per game last season, what is the ceiling this year with pretty much 3 better quarterbacks all in the stable now? One thing that I do want to mention is that Russell Wilson's expected to be the starter out the gate. He's one of the better deep ball throwers in the NFL. So Malik Nabers had a very high unrealized air yards last year. This can be a situation, man, where a lot of those unrealized fantasy points that he missed out on last year, dude, The sky is the fucking limit for Malik Nabers. The one thing that concerns me about Malik Nabers, so these are the cons, are that the team is going to be bad, right? The Giants are expected to be a very bad team. They're only expected to win in like 3 games. Now, that doesn't really impact wide receivers that much, right? Sometimes we want wide receivers on bad teams because that probably guarantees they're going to be throwing the ball quite a lot. But, the Giants are not expected to score a lot of points this year. They're 18th in team points, 558 pass attempts, based on Mike Clay projections. So that's the situation. Those are the 3 players, man. Those are the profiles. They're going essentially back to back. Now, current ADP currently has it where Malik Nabers is being drafted at like the 8th, with Puka Nacua going at like 12 or 13, and Nico going at like 17 on some platforms. So the way that the ADP has it on these platforms is Malik Nabers, Puka, then Nico. If you have deep childhood traumas, you have no fear, you don't have any type of risk issues in your head, then you're going to go with Puka Nacua as your 1. Maybe you're going to go with Nabers as your 2 and Nico as your 3. But if you're someone who wants to minimize risk while still maintaining upside, I would go with Nico Collins at 1, Puka Nacua at 2, and Malik Nabers at 3. Personally, the way that I like to play fantasy football is I'm going Nico Collins number 1 because I want to insulate my risk, man. In the first and second round, I want to make sure that the fantasy players that I choose are either going to produce at their ADP or exceed it. But more importantly, hopefully they can stay on my team. They can stay healthy and that they don't get injured. All 3 of these guys have been dealing with injuries the last season, so all 3 of them represent the same type of injury risk. It's just Puka Nacua not only has injury risk to himself, but he also has it to Stafford, who's already dealing with an aggravated back injury. Malik Nabers has like a toe issue that he's had since college that he's been dealing with. He also has like a shoulder injury at the moment. Like Malik Nabers has like 3 different injuries going into the season. So I want to draft good players and good offenses. I think that's what kind of makes me move the needle, where I think the Texans are going to be a decent passing offense. The Rams are going to be a good all-around offense, and the Giants are going to be a bad offense. So that's why I have them ranked. If we get more good news in the next couple weeks about Puka Nacua, about Matt Stafford, that he's looking good, he's looking fresh, there are no issues with his back, I'm probably going to rank Puka Nacua over Nico Collins just by looking at the stats, by looking at the advanced metrics. Puka Nacua is just so fucking good, dude, with Stafford. Hope you guys like this video. Hope it helped you, man. I hope it's just one little piece of data you guys can use to help guide your decisions in your upcoming drafts. If you guys want to get my draft guide, it's got my rankings, my O-line report, my handcuff report, fades, targets, tiers, all that type of stuff, man. You can find it in the link down below in the Patreon. It's $5, bro. It'd be a really great way to support a solo creator like myself. I put a lot of work and time into this in the off season, so that'd be the best way to show support. Make sure you like the video if you did like it. It really helps the channel, helps boost it, show it to more people. Comment if you can. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.